What is wrong with you? You make soft ice cream, okay? It's purely for kids. What kind of psycho are you?
Grand Theft Auto V debuted in September of 2013. Yet over time, the game's been essentially remade with tons of new content and features right alongside its always popular online mode.
It's been nearly 10 years.
But in light of this, how does GTA V play today? And how does it compare to prior entries in the series like San Andreas or GTA IV? Well, let's find out. As I've covered extensively before, I'm not a huge fan of Rockstar's GTA IV or the series' shift to realism generally. I found 4 in many regards strangely lacking when compared to the game's iconic run on the PS2. Well, GTA V is like Rockstar listened to my GTA IV video and suddenly remembered everything that made this series so important and unique. It had been years since I had played this game before starting this review, and I can honestly say that, with the benefits of time, money, and its enduring player base, GTA V has readily become a different game from the one I first played on the PS3 in 2013, or at least the one I remember. But let's start with the basics. Grand Theft Auto V tells the story of 3 thieves, Franklin, Michael, and Trevor, and their criminal misadventures in the giant playground that is Los Santos, San Andreas, Rockstar's stand-in, of course, for LA. Also, for its backdrop, GTA V has the Great Recession. The game uses both story and setting to present what I would call the definitive account of that era.
Nobody ever learned anything useful from reading a book.
I'm a Darwinist, brother, all right? Some prosper and some struggle. Now, are you out of your goddamn mind? This is your lucky break!
How exactly 5 does this, though, should be a video of its own. For now, put simply, this may be the single greatest open world that I've ever seen. Rockstar say it was the most difficult part of the game's development, and it really shows. Every square mile, if not inch, of Los Santos has a story to tell, and at long last, so many elements that Rockstar have been trying to nail down, going all the way back to GTA 3, have been totally realized.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
A masterpiece by any measure, GTA 5 marks the culmination of decades of design. It may have also been one of the most expensive games ever made. The idea for 3 playable characters went back to the original San Andreas, before, of course, the idea was technically feasible. The lack of load times in GTA 5 is truly exquisite, and the jump between characters seamless. Just as seamless is the delicate balance required for both a game with 3 protagonists, but also a satire of this scale, in terms of tone.
My job, my score, get your own!
And how much that shit cost you per second?
It's relative, bro. How long did it take me to earn the bills?
You are either drunk, or you're staring miserably at the clouds, or you're out there doing God only knows what.
Oh, yeah. I done horrible by you. Pulled you out of a Midwestern trailer park, got you a big mansion in Rockford Hills. Hell, the only thing you gotta worry about anymore is what part of your body you want to have chopped off or sucked out again.
Screw you, Michael.
Ah, but you won't.
I was faithful to you up until I found you in a stripper.
Balance is really what GTA has struggled as a series with all along. It wasn't until this playthrough of GTA 5 that I really understood why Rockstar has, since at least San Andreas, seen GTA as a Sims series. Creating their in-house dev engine Rage has, it seems, finally paid off. Or at the very least paid off for this video essayist. Finally justified itself. I've never thought of GTA as particularly realistic or needing to be. But while I still believe the PS2 run of titles worked best because they were, in some sense, cartoons, I'll admit that GTA 5 has reminded me that sim game elements have actually been crucial to Grand Theft Auto since at least GTA 3. Yeah, 5 really brought back a lot of great memories. For example, it makes me feel pretty much exactly how I did in 2001 when I first parked at Eddie's, the starting safe house in 3. That moment is basically when that game gave you its sandbox open world keys, and you started thinking like a GTA criminal for the first time. How will I make money now in this literal land of liberty? What will, for that matter, I spend it on? The game's day-night cycle, its wanted levels and destructible car physics, even its prostitutes and taxicab missions. I've remembered now how totally GTA 3 and every GTA since has strived towards sim game territory. It's just that on the PS2, the blocky characters and controls, the wonky shooting, and unforgiving, almost comically difficult mission design, all that got in the way of this sim-adjacent side. I think that's because, to return us to how we began, of balance. GTA 3 and Vice City were carefully, if loudly, balancing acts between sim stuff and hardcore, uncensored funning, between realism and entertainment. I still would contend, as I have already stated in my review of GTA 4, that starting with San Andreas, realism and entertainment slipped out of whack. Instead of harmonizing, now they more clashed. And as we saw, that went double for GTA 4. Well, 5 has restored balance to GTA's force, and forcefully so. The game draws huge influence from the perfect cinematic equivalent to this formula, Michael Mann's debut film, 1981's Thief. Like Thief, also, I should note, scored by Tangerine Dream, GTA 5, right out of the gate, is only interested in detailed realism, or simulacra, to the extent that it will result on our end in entertainment.
We're gonna need everything we got down here.
In popcorn munching, haven't left the couch in hours, thrills. in good old-fashioned, fun, natural fun. Starting with a high-tension, gripping bank heist as a kind of prologue, GTA 5 doesn't waste any time plunging us right where we want to be. Into its version of Satire that we can both enjoy and appreciate. A game that knows what fun is and knows how to give it to us.
They're shooting porno here.
They shoot porno all over town. Mom rented our house to them last summer.
That was
What?
your house?
But also remembers its job as a socio-political satire, and finds a way for these two roles not to clash.
But that would be the post-ironic use of the word cunt, both offensive and at the same time curiously anodyne. Hey, what the fuck?
Unlike GTA 4's Liberty City, Los Santos makes complete sense to me. I know why it's such a terrible place, without that knowledge conflicting with also knowing how much fun there is there to be had. Not a single side activity is ever dull, not for me. No mission isn't at least a little fun or lacking in sandbox elements as it should. And even the central characters and their miserable lives don't interfere in the slightest.
I wish I could stop time so my wife looked like she did 20 years ago. Now she's a disgusting pig. Man, I hate middle age.
Now you can stop time with Preservex. At funerals, they always say how wonderful the deceased look.
The conceit for GTA 5 is middle age, and this is very meta. Our three protagonists are the three archetypes, more or less, of every modern series protagonist that preceded them. The middle-aged Michael, also a stand-in for GTA perhaps itself, is like a GTA 4 era character in terms of nuance and complex depth, only better realized. Franklin, a cipher recalling San Andreas' CJ, is here as a barometer to illustrate one of GTA 5's most fascinating and unique aspects, the changes in its fictional version of Los Angeles over time.
Oh, no, show some respect here, nigga. The man, they couldn't hold down his back. Come on now.
Damn, man. I gotta spend my day with another middle-aged fool trying to recapture his youth.
What this fool just say?
But last, there is Trevor, clearly a more old-school, classic GTA-type character who'd be right at home in 3 or GTA Vice City, and who the devs devised, supposedly, to help solve that age-old problem for Rockstar once they decided they wanted to really lean in on story. The problem of the disparity between a character's role in their script and how that character behaved as the player in their open-world game. This is sometimes called ludonarrative dissonance.
I heard you was off smoking meth somewhere.
No, not somewhere. Here, he's gonna smoke meth here. Give me a fucking lighter.
I absolutely love Trevor. And it really was a problem worth solving. Another method taken by 5 is via Michael's Psychomantis-esque shrink visits, where how you've played as him and who he is narrative-wise are able to connect. Franklin, by a needed balance, is more of just the stand-in for the player. Balance really is at the core of GTA 5, and it informs the business of gameplay in lots of long-lasting, unexpected ways. Franklin, Trevor, and Michael each have their own optimal way to make money, their own unique clothing and hair, their own special abilities and stats and bank accounts. Bringing back one of my favorite things from Vice City, commercial real estate, now you have to share Los Santos' available properties and activities among the three main characters. At first I wasn't sure how I felt about GTA 5's focus on bank heists. But by the end I realized this dimension helped really ground the whole game, solving virtually every complaint that I had raised about GTA 4 in the process. 5 is very focused, very well paced. Even when not directly about bank jobs, everything revolves around you three somehow paying off or getting free from your many different pursuers and enemies, and that usually leads back to another, even bigger bank hit. The various antagonists and big players that you do missions for or try to destroy fit together in a mosaic much neater than the cast of San Andreas or GTA 4. Though initially disappointed in the game's lack of San Fierro or Las Venturas, I quickly realized that, apart from its shared central setting, 5 sets out to be something totally different. GTA 5, as a satire of the America that helped, alongside of course the UK, trigger the Great Recession, is about washed-up whales and weasels who were big in the late 20th century and who now remain stuck in that era, totally thereby unequipped to deal with the present tense.
You think we can't do that? We can. It's in our guidelines.
I don't know what you're talking about. I installed cinema equipment, not surveillance.
Grab his other arm.
No.
Everything just fits together and makes sense. And the style of humor no longer contains a patina of sorrow, as it necessarily had to in GTA 4 and its story of Niko Bellic. To explain how you three aren't already in jail, the game gives you a lot of work for the types of people inside the system who can keep you out. Yet these same people are of course themselves rife with corruption, not to mention infighting. In this we find clear-cut nods to stuff like 9/11, America's secret wars and war profiteering in war-torn regions like Central Africa, its war on drugs and on terrorism, not to forget the spread of mercenaries and private military contractors, the rise of China, Silicon Valley, and the death of the cult of celebrity in the social media age. There is also occasionally the specter of the 1960s that rears its ugly psychedelic head. We get caught up in many familiar subjects also for fans of Rockstar's other open-world opus, Red Dead Redemption, in train robberies and turf wars ranging from the local, such as the good old families versus ballas, to the global, FIB versus IAA. Or Trevor versus literally everyone else.
You are flying in restricted airspace. Turn around immediately.
The radio stations are so numerous and so full of great stuff that GTA 5 feels less like a game with radio channels and more like the game equivalent of a huge music festival. Meanwhile, every single element is there to get you to enjoy yourself and take in this massive open world. Though more full of sim elements than ever, these are not only the most polished I've ever seen in a Rockstar game, none of them detract from the core design ideal here of always being fun. It sounds so simple, but in reality, it's almost impossible to pull off at this scale. From its bustling downtown, all the way to its untamed vistas and prairies, every square inch, as I said, of GTA 5 is just itching to be explored. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I just can't praise the open world or the attention to detail here and how they complement rather than clash enough. I could go on because there really is a ton to say, but I doubt many of you are even going to see this given that it's not about Metal Gear. So let me just wrap up for now by simply saying that GTA 5 starts fun and it stays fun. It's the ultimate version not just of GTA 5 as it debuted nearly 10 years ago, but of the very concept of any true blue GTA game. The reason it works, once again, is balance. Balancing the mechanics, the characters, the open world, the combat. It's all been perfectly and expertly honed to become a version of GTA 5 I barely recognize and yet can't stop playing. With loads of missable mission content, free mission replays, endlessly farmable certain jobs or side activities, a custom radio, a thriving mod scene, and an even more massive audience for GTA Online, GTA 5 never has to end. And for the first and only time for this entire series, I don't really want it to. Until next time, boss.